Today we're going to find out how to solve problems where there's a variable on one side and there's only one variable. So that means that there's x, not x, and y. Alright, so we have 2 times x plus 6 divided by 3 plus 2 equals 6. And we're going to learn how to solve problems like that. So the first thing we're going to need to do is review order of operations. And I'm sure most of you would be familiar with order of operations, but in case you need a review, first we're going to do brackets, then we're going to do exponents, then division and multiplication, and addition and subtraction. And for division and multiplication, as well as addition and subtraction, we just do whatever comes first, and we go from left to right. So, for example, we have this question right here, and we want to find out what it equals. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to look to see if there's any brackets. There's no brackets, so we don't have to worry about that. Then, we see if there's any exponents. There's no exponents, so we don't have to worry about that. Then, we get to division and multiplication. Now we see that we have multiplication, and we also have division over here. So remember what I said about going left to right? So we're going to do the first one that comes up when we move from left to right, which is this 3 times 4. So we'll do 3 times 4, which is 12. And then we have plus 9 divided by 3, minus 1. Now, we do the next one, so we do the next division or multiplication that comes up, which is 9 divided by 3. So we got 12 plus 9 divided by 3, that's 3, minus 1. And then we move on to addition and subtraction. And we see that we have addition right here and subtraction right here. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to go left to right. So we're going to start with this 12 plus 3, which is equal to 15. And then we have minus 1. And then we're just going to subtract 1 from 15. Not too hard. That's equal to 14. And so with this question mark, this is equal to 14. Alright, now that we've reviewed it, I think it's time that we move on. So I have a few problems here, and they're going to increase in difficulty. And for the strategy we got to use to solve them is we want to isolate this x on one side of the equation, and we want everything else to be on this side of the equation. So we want this 8 and we want this 9 on this side of the equation, and then we want this x to stay where it is. So the way we're going to do that is we want to get this 8 over to that side. So we're going to do order of operations in reverse and with the opposite operation. So just to make it clear, the opposite operation, we have division and we have multiplication, right? The opposite of division is multiplication, and the opposite of multiplication is division. And this makes sense because, for example, say you have 3 times 3, that'll equal 9. But say you have 9 divided by 3, that'll equal 3. So they're opposite. And then you have addition and subtraction, and these are also opposite. So if you, so let's say you have 2 plus 2, which is equal to 4, right? And then you have 4 minus, because the opposite addition is subtraction. So 4 minus 2, that's equal to 2, right? So for this question, we have addition. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract 8. And notice that when we subtract 8, so we have, right now we have x plus 8 minus 8. When we subtract 8, this plus 8 and this minus 8, they cancel out, and we're just left with x, right? So now, what we do to one side of the equation, we also have to do to the other side. So now we have 9 minus 8 on this side, and 9 minus 8, that's very simple, that's just 1. Alright, so x is equal to 1. And if you want, you can substitute this 1 back into the equation. So now you have 1, you're just substituting 1 for x, plus 8 equals 9, and you can see that 1 plus 8 does equal 9. Alright, so now we've got x times 3 equals 9. So the opposite of multiplication is division, So we're going to divide by 3. So now if you were to write this all out, you would have x times 3 divided by 3. And you notice times 3 divided by 3, those two cancel out. And once again, you're just left with x. So now you have x. And remember, what you do to one side, you must do to the other side. So you have to divide by 3 on this side as well. And you have 9 divided by 3. 9 divided by 3 is just 3. And x equals 3. And then once again, you're going to substitute this 3 back into there. And you'll have 3 times 3 is equal to 9. Which you can verify this yourself, but that is correct. So now we're going to move over to this question. As you can see, now you have 2 x's, right? And this isn't much different. You still want to get all of the x's on one side and everything else to go to the other side. So to do that, you want to get rid of this 3, and you can see you're subtracting the 3. Or you're adding the 3, my bad. So what you want to do is now you want to subtract the 3. And so over here you would have x plus 3 plus x minus 3. We're not doing anything new. It's just that this order looks a little bit different. So we have x plus 3, and then over here we have x minus, or we have plus 3, and then over here we have minus 3. So those two can just cancel out because you're adding 3 then subtracting 3, which will just mean that you're not adding anything or subtracting anything, right? So now we have x plus x is equal to, well, you subtract 3 from one side, so you have to subtract 3 from the other side. So you have 7 minus 3 is equal to 4. And so you have this x plus x, and you might be wondering, well, how are you, there's nothing that left you can do, right? So it must be unsolvable, but it's not. You can rewrite this x plus x as 2 times x is equal to 4. And this might make sense to some of you, this might not. Basically, right, you have x plus x. So you have 2x, right? Because, you know, for example, if you do 2 plus 2, that's the same as 2 times 2. If you have 3 plus 3, that's the same as 3 times 2. If you have 4 plus 4, that's the same as 4 times 2, right? So we have this 2 times x is equal to 4, and now we can just do what we've been doing the whole time, and we divide by 2. So now we have, I'm going to do it over here so I have more room. So we have 2 times x divided by 2. So if you're multiplying by 2 and then dividing by 2, that's just going to cancel out, so these terms will cancel out, and you'll have x is equal to, same thing as always, 4 divided by 2, x is equal to 2. Alright, so this one isn't much different than any of them that you've done before. You just have x divided by 3 plus 1. We're going to do order of operations in reverse order, which means the first term, or the first thing that we want to cancel out is this plus 1. So to do that, same thing as always, we subtract 1. So now we have x divided by 3 plus 1 minus 1. Those two cancel out. So we have x divided by 3. And that's equal to 7 minus 1, right? So we have 6. And now we have x divided by 3. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So we can do x divided by 3 times 3. And we'll be left with x. And then we multiply 6 by 3 as well. So we've got x is equal to 18. And you can always substitute this back up into here to check. But I'm going to just move on to the next one. So now we have another very similar one to the last one. We have multiplication, we have addition. So you're going to do the same thing as the last time. You start with the addition. So you start by canceling out this term by subtracting 3. And so now you have 2 times x plus 3 minus 3. Those two cancel out. Is equal to 7. And you got minus 3 over here, minus 3. So, or 7 minus 3, that's just equal to 4. So you have 2 times x. So you're going to divide by 2 to cancel out this 2. and then you've got x equals 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. And you can substitute it back up here to check.